Hi, everybody. Welcome. How do we take our power back? That's a question that I want to share with you today. And it's something that has been coming up in the past couple weeks with people who I know, a lot of friends, a lot of clients, people who are really struggling with real things that are happening in their life, from illness to overwhelm to financial issues to just hearing all kinds of information that is creating a lot of fear in them. And we talk in the spiritual communities about power, taking your power back and being empowered. And what does that mean? What does that really mean? And I want to just come on today and share a little bit with you about that. Hopefully, if you're having any kind of issue with this, or you're struggling, or you're questioning, I'm hoping that it will give you a little bit of insight and tools to use right away. I'm Maria Furlano. Welcome to the Art of Tuning In. I'm so glad you're here. So, taking your power back. We're in a world where there is a ton of information going on, and we can find out any information that we want, which is really nice, really wonderful. But we're also in a world where information is coming at us all the time, and a lot of that information are things we can't do anything about. So a lot of the emergencies, things that are happening in the world, we can have a lot of compassion for, but we can't do anything about it from here, except from our hearts, sending out a prayer, sending out energy, holding space. We can certainly do that in support. But when we're bombarded with information that's coming out around us, and I'm going to talk about personal information as well, but I just want to make sure that we understand too that there is a lot coming in around us from the outside. Even if you don't spend a lot of time on social media or watch TV. Like, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in a really, really, really long time. I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that. That certainly helps. That helps so much as far as keeping my heart happy. But when you have all this information coming in, and it can just be from people's opinions. It doesn't have to be that you're watching news. It could be that people are very heated in what they're talking about, and they are sharing and sharing and sharing. And in some ways, when people are sharing and sharing, that energy can sometimes feel like it's being dumped on you. It's just coming out, and you're receiving it and taking it in. That sets up our nervous system to be in a kind of an aware state. We call it the fight and flight state, where we're ready. We're always ready. And the problem with always having access, always having the information being available to us, is that we're always receiving, taking in, and it can feel like that. It can feel like we're kind of, dodging information, dodging punches, just being dumped on. And that puts us in a perpetual energetic state that is activating our fight and flight system, which means that we never really relax. And when we don't relax and we don't center ourselves, the beautiful system in our body of healing hormones don't get to activate themselves the way that they really need to, which means that we're just not as well or as healthy as we could be. Okay? So, taking power back in that situation where there's information coming at us all the time, first of all, if you don't like the situations that you're being exposed to and you can remove yourself from those situations, that's number one in taking your power back. So, for example, when people talk about turning off the news, that's taking your power back. You don't have to watch the news. There's no law about watching the news. There's nothing really coming in on the news that you can do anything about. And there's other ways to find out any kind of vital information that you might personally need for yourself, for your family. So turning that off is a form of taking your power back. Now, let's say you don't want to turn off the news. Well, a way of taking your power back when you're watching the news, for example, and you're hearing things that are maybe bothering you or that are really difficult, is to say to yourself, is this really true? Is that true? Is that information true? And is that information true for me? And the reason why I say that is, and this comes into alignment with when we're dealing with our own personal issues, like let's say if we're dealing with a health diagnosis, or we're dealing with information that's coming in that's very scary, maybe financial, or anything that has to do with us. If we're taking in information and we're just assuming that it's true because somebody else said it, or because somebody else is an authority, or has put themselves to be an authority, and we're taking in that information, then we are losing our power because we are giving it away. One of the things, for example, as far as health goes, I'll bring this up in case, I know a lot of people deal with these things, and they receive a diagnosis and they begin to say, I have, or I have been told that I have this certain issue going on. And once we say I have, or once we take it on as ours, there is an energy shift in us where we have taken it in. And so one of the things that people will say who want to stay in more neutral energy to keep themselves aligned with their power is, it's not that they're going to ignore it, or it's not that they're going to run away from it. It's not that they're not going to get help from a medical community, for example, but they will say, I have received, or I have been given a diagnosis of blah, blah, blah. That's their opinion right now with what is showing. So do you see the difference in that? I have been given this information, and that's what's showing right now with what they're presenting to me. Okay, what am I going to do with that information? So you stay in your power, and you don't give your power away. You stay in your power by asking questions, by not taking it in, by saying, okay, I've been given this information. What does that mean for me? Am I going to take it in? Is that going to be true for me in my life? Do I have tools to bring myself back into alignment? I have different videos where I, bring the energy out and I bring it back into the center. And why do we do that? So one of the things about bringing our energy back into the center, whether you're doing that, whether you meditate, whether you drop into belly breathing, which is all good. These things are all good. The reason why we do all that is because we want to bring ourselves back into our center so that we can quiet our energy. Because when we receive information that is difficult, our brain starts to spin. So again, remember, everything I do is with vibration and frequency. So when I explain how energy is moving, I'm seeing it in frequency. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're feeling like very anxious or very scared, energy does two things. It starts to kind of spin out of control, meaning out of control maybe isn't the right word, but it starts to spin away from you, where it's away from you and you're losing your power. And also you can begin at the same time to shut down inside and start to get very scared and start to contract. But your brain is trying to stop all of this outside movement that's happening from fear. So what we want to do whenever we're bringing our power back with any kind of vibrational work, energetic work, working with frequency, is we have to understand what's happening to the energy. We're being told something, for example, whether it's our health or whether it's information coming in from the world, whether it's finances, whatever it is, we're being told something that is scaring us, that is putting us in a position where we don't feel centered, or where we feel like things are rocky, and we're being pushed off our center. We're just being pushed off. So we recognize, oh, I've just been pushed off my center with this information, whatever this is. And it could be that this information is triggering something from my past, very common, or it could be brand new information. And so then you take responsibility for being pushed off your center and you say, oh, okay, I was just pushed off my center. I've received this information. Let me come back into alignment. We shake our bodies a lot in Qigong, in medical Qigong. It's called shaking the bones, and we'll shake the body. And when we shake the body, it lets energy disperse. I always tell people, take a walk, take a brisk walk, let the energy come out, let your brain go, and then come back to center. Because when you come back to center, you bring all of your power into alignment. And now, as you're in alignment, you vibrate differently. Your frequency now begins to vibrate in a way that you're in alignment with true information that can come in for you from your highest self, if you believe in guides or angels or whatever it is it is guiding you on your path. But when you're in your center, you come back into your power, and now there's a connection where you can hear it, where there's communication. When it's all out here, it's just chaos. It's just chaos. And sometimes we tend to go from person to person to person to person, trying to find help to bring us back to the center of our own empowerment. There's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with community. But whether you get help and have community, you still have to bring yourself back into the center if you want to feel good and if you want to find out the information for you to move forward that's true for you. So I want to paint this picture for you of empowerment and bringing yourself back, because I've talked before in other videos about how we need to do things in short bursts and how we do those realignment practices all throughout our day. Sometimes it's an easy day and sometimes it's a really rough day. Sometimes it's a cycle of time, weeks, months, where we're dealing with things in our life that are really difficult, and coming back into empowerment, coming back into empowerment. The other thing is that when we're able to recognize that we've been knocked off our center, and that means that we take the time to come back into alignment. When we go and get help from someone, or we go into a community that we feel safe with to get support, we can hear information differently because now we're in alignment and things now flow. If we go into that chaotically, a lot of times we can't hear much of what's going on. This is why, for example, when I do sessions with people, I record everything, because when people come in, they're in one state. When they leave, they're in another state. And when they listen back, hopefully they're still in that aligned state, and the information comes in differently. And that's something that I want us to understand. For example, if we're hearing information not in our center, we're going to be knocked out of alignment much bigger than we will be if we learn to stay in our center, if we learn to quiet and align, and we learn to listen and observe what we're seeing and hearing differently. Meaning, we're a conscious observer. We're conscious in our body. We're conscious in our alignment. And now we are observing out here what someone is sharing with us, or what we're watching on TV, or what we're listening to in a podcast, or whatever we're doing, what we're reading. We are a conscious observer with that information. We're not melded and enmeshed in that information. And if someone is giving us information, we don't meld and enmesh with that information. So I hope you can feel the difference there, that there's a difference between receiving information and being pulled into that information and melding with it, and receiving information where the information like maybe comes to here, right? And okay, here's the information. I'm observing the information. I am listening. I am taking it in. I am paying attention because it's maybe some things I need to change about my life, or maybe there's an important thing coming up that I'm going to need to react and respond to. But most people react and respond to the information coming. So let's see if this makes sense. As the information comes to us and it moves us off our center, meaning we're out of our empowerment, most people are reacting and responding to that information. They're not even hearing all of it. All of their nervous system is going, and they're out here, and their fight or flight is going. That's what I mean by their nervous system. Their fight and flight is activated, and they are reacting and responding and trying to figure out their next move before they've even received everything. So they miss a lot of it. So it activates all of our fear. Very normal, by the way, not a criticism. This is very normal until we really learn to be a conscious observer and understand that information is just information. That's it. I've told many clients, when you go to your doctor, when you go to you go into especially a hospital or into a doctor's office, remember that you're just receiving information. You're just getting some information. That's it. And you're going to take that information and you're going to learn. And that's a much different space to be in than, oh my goodness, I'm going to go and this person knows so much more than me and they're going to tell me about me and my condition and this is what's happening with me and I have no control over me. See the difference? Okay, so it's exciting, right? So I get very excited about these things. So when you're a conscious observer and you learn, and that takes practice, okay? So again, not a criticism. This stuff takes practice. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of stuff that happens that's scary, and that's okay. And a lot of times when you start to react and respond and you remember, oh, wait, let me be a conscious observer. Let me step back into my power. Me, my soul. This is who I am. Now, what information do you have to share with me? Let me take that in. If I don't understand, let me ask some more questions. But let me have it from a place of empowerment where it's my life, it's my choice. You may have an expertise in this one area, and that's wonderful that you're sharing it with me. But ultimately, I need to take and align with myself with what is right in that information and make it work for me. That is empowerment. That is conscious alignment. And that is being a conscious observer in life. So whether that's with something you're watching, reading, seeing, or whether it's, you're dealing with a family member or a friend who's going through something, you still want to be a conscious observer. You don't want to meld with their energies. You don't want to be drawn in with helping or rescuing or anything like that. You want to be a conscious observer to see how can you, in your alignment first, support this situation. And when you do that, you will receive information from your true guidance as to what is really the next step. Sometimes jumping into a situation is not the best thing for everybody. It's not. We think sometimes it is. Go in and take care of something and help because you can. Not always the best thing. And we hear that sometimes. And sometimes it is. Sometimes, yes, it's time. I need to go help this because I can. So I'm going to help in this situation. But if we never take a moment to step back and we're constantly reacting and responding, we will never have that moment of empowerment to hear our guidance as to what the next move should be. Because ultimately, it's us coming back to our center anyway, all the time, to live from our true alignment and our true empowerment in this life. Thank you for being with me. I really hope that helped. Please share, comment below. How do you feel? Do you understand the reacting and the responding? Do you understand what's being in your empowerment? Do you have any questions about it? Feel free to put that too. Thank you so much for being here. Please share this video with anybody that it can support right now or anytime. I thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.